Good afternoon, everyone. This is Woody Collins, and another day of talking about the Congo. Hope everybody had a super weekend. I had a busy weekend, and I am glad to be back in the dull week. And hopefully, I can get caught up for all the things I did not do over the weekend. The sun is shining. It is a little cool today, but it's going to be maybe in the 70s by Saturday, they says. Wow, hey, we got it made. So, but you didn't come to hear me talk about the weather. You came to hear me talk about the Congo. So, what is going on in the Congo? Well, the biggest thing that I have is I was looking back at my predictions when this COVID virus first started back in the March timeframe, and I predicted that unless something happens in the Congo, they're going to be up to 1.6, 1.7 million people uh, confirmed COVID-19 cases when this was going on. And I actually let my compadre, my camarade, my friend over in the Congo know about this, and I says, "Yeah." I think it's y'all are gonna go off the rocket, go off the like a take off like a rocket. I say because for the first uh, few reporting periods, they had it was like quadruple the number of cases from during the period. So based on that extrapolations of going from one to another, I estimated that they were going to be at the end of October of 1.7 million confirmed cases. Well, currently they only have about 11,600, 11,700 cases, which is nowhere near 1.7 and only 307 deaths. So, what does that mean? That I'm big off a lot, but uh, else that my calculations were wrong? What was the deal here? And I look at, in light of all this spiking that we're doing here in the United States, I still think that they're spiking over in Congo, but for two to three reasons that we've already talked about, that they have not had the number of cases. Number one, they have a younger population, so you have a lot more asymptomatic uh, cases. So you don't see the death rate that you see and the number of required hospitalization. Number two, they do not do the testing that they have around here. Uh, so they're not when they don't test, things get uh, you don't know what's going on. So that's the second reason. You know, you got number one, you got younger population. Number two, you're not doing the testing. So how do you know what's going on? Three, as we talked about just last week or week before last, is that they're in a different situation as far as climatic conditions, that the virus does not hold up as well in warmer temperatures. Uh, and so that's why they're also saying here in the United States, it's going to skyrocket. It's going to skyrocket. So at this point in time, you got that. Then also, it does not reproduce as fast when you have a high humidity. And if anybody knows, Congo has a high humidity. However, some of the evidence, the I wouldn't say it's even anecdotal evidence, but some of the evidence that people have done before, where they went out and tested parts of the population in one situation where the a company tested all its employees, and they found up to 20% of those people were infected, but they were showing no symptoms, wasn't didn't require uh, hospitalization or anything like that. And so, therefore, uh, I'm calling this back to my original topic of the iceberg effect. You may have a lot of people walking around the Congo that has been, possibly still is asymptomatic because of those various conditions. So therefore, it could spike, uh, but it probably may not. You may not see the hospitalizations that we see here in the United States, as they're predicting a big influx of cases during the winter, because they just had their equivalent of their coolest part of the year, which was probably in the 80s and close to 90s and stuff like that. So they went through that. So now they're coming into their summer period where it really gets hot, and so therefore, you know, it's not going to reproduce as much. So even if the people are asymptomatic, it's not going to go from one person to another as much. And they are taking precautions. They're wearing masks. They still, people are required to wash their hands when they come into a building, and they wash it not with soap and water, but wash it with chlorine bleach solution, which I suspect is just as good as uh, is the poor man's equivalent of what we use for hand sanitizer. We use alcohol-based hand sanitizer. They're using a chlorine-based hand sanitizer. So, uh, so I'm just trying to say that maybe uh, my prediction was not off that much, but I guess it was off from the case of confirmed cases. They do not have the confirmed cases because, number one, they're not doing the testing, and you can only come up with a confirmed case if you do testing. So therefore, since they don't do the testing of everybody, uh, they may not have the, uh, it's impossible to tell. But like I said, from some of the testing that people have done, it is there and it is among the population. And another thing is, one of the things that they check a lot, uh, as we were doing here, we were checking people temperature. Number one, if you in that hotter temperature, I mean hot of temperate zone, your temperature may not have shown up as much as it should have, because you're hot, and so you're fever. Plus, just about every known disease over in the Congo is is fever. You have a fever, whether you got typhoid fever or you got malaria, just about everything. It comes up. One of the symptoms uh, is the a fever. So a lot of people could have had fever, and they just thought, oh well, I just had was coming down with malaria, so it went away. And okay, so that's the case. So I'm just asking you to say, okay, even though you didn't know about it, I put myself out that I had predicted uh, 1.6, 1.7 million cases, and that has not materialized. So I was incorrect because those confirmed cases may not be visible, but it's like a iceberg. It's that portion that's underwater. So that's my excuse, is that the number of cases may be 1.6 or 1.7, but it's hidden under the water, just like on an iceberg. So be careful when you're treading in water and going across water, just like you don't want to be sunk like the Titanic. You hit the iceberg and thousands and thousands of people die. So that's my information for today, and thank you all for tuning in. And tomorrow, I will have my full list of people that I want to recognize. Just walked off and did not, when I came to the camera, did not have it. But I know there's Lou and Frank. They've been doing both Frank's in Minnesota and Frank in uh, here in Indianapolis, and Lou and Joe and a lot of people who have been reaching out and and giving me a thumbs up and a like. And also, there's been people who've been sharing it. And finally, there's people who've been making comments. So I appreciate those and thank you so much. And we will talk with you tomorrow at the same time, same station. And as I always say, please, if you got some comments that you want to do or you want to know about a different aspect of the Congo, drop me a little short note and I can, put that on the schedule to talk about. So without further ado, let's get off of here and call it a day. But before I leave, as always, I want you to take care of yourself and take care of your family. Be safe, wear your mask, wash your hands frequently, and watch out for the spike. The spike is coming, so that may be our iceberg coming to hit us. And and as always, be blessed, and we will talk to you tomorrow. So take care.